Welcome to The Art Box, your podcast dedicated to exploring the vibrant art scene in Nevada and beyond. Join us as we embark on a journey through galleries, theaters, studios, public lands, and streetscapes, meeting the artists, curators, archaeologists, nature lovers, and cultural influencers who shape our creative community and our world. Whether you're looking for your next cultural adventure, seeking inspiration for your own artistic pursuits, or simply curious about the world of art, tune into The Art Box. Together, let's open up a world of creativity and imagination. Let's dive in.
Dreams, what if the night is about you and me? So lift your head up.
This is Suzie White, hosting The Art Box at the Mesquite STEAM Center. Currently, we have summer camp going on, so we might have some loud noise in the background. Today, we're chatting with Bobbie Green, member of the Desert Dames. So, tell us the history of the Desert Dames.
Founder of the Desert Dames.
Founder of the Desert Dames. Excellent. Tell us about your club. What kind of things do you do as a club?
Oh, well, anything of interest to the members. They can start an interest group if they like to sew, knit, hike, swim, whatever. They can start an interest group
Okay.
from other club members, and that's how we get all our activities that we do.
Okay.
Member-driven.
It's member-driven. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things you have upcoming for this summer? Do you know yet?
No.
Okay.
I'm not even in it that much. You told me history.
So I did read the history, so it kind of looks like you are also ladies who like to lunch. Do you have a favorite spot here in Mesquite that you like to go to, or?
No, we contract just like anybody else when they have a large group. Mm-hmm. We're either Casa or Eureka or whoever they've contracted with to handle that many ladies at one time.
Okay.
At one time, we would have over 300 ladies to lunch.
Oh, yeah.
The only place in town that could handle us was Casa at the time.
Mm.
The line for lunch on Wednesdays would swing clear from the banquet room, clear out to the restaurant. And the noise level would be atrocious. You couldn't even, everybody from the casinos would come to see what was going on back here, and it would be all the ladies waiting in line to get in.
It's like the chamber luncheon at the Casa that they have. It's a big group.
We grew quickly, and we were the largest club in Mesquite for many, many years.
Do you have any limitations on who can join? Like, do you have to be in Mesquite? Can you be in the surrounding areas?
When we first started, it was Mesquite, Arizona, but then there was some clashing about whether or not people from Arizona could join. So they've changed it now to where it's the surrounding area.
Nice, nice.
It can be.
And then I noticed that you're a nonprofit social club.
Exactly.
And do you ladies like to do raffles and stuff too?
They have raffles at every luncheon. But we are a C37, not a charity club. We don't do charities, but the raffle goes to the club, and the club they have to spend it on the club members. We raffle off some prizes, and we raffle off usually other luncheons, because you have to pay for your lunch.
And I know that you do not support or do anything for political parties. That's a very safe way to have it right now.
Always has been. Most ladies' clubs don't last this long, in actuality. So it was patterned after a club that I belonged to in California: 2 rules, no religion, no politics. And that was hard at first to get people to adhere to that, but that keeps the club going, that keeps fighting out.
And how long have you been a club here in Mesquite?
Since 1995.
Wow. Currently, how many members do you have? Okay.
I really don't know right now.
And I see that it's like you just come when you want to come. If there's something you wanted.
That's the way it is. The club was started for newcomers. When I came to Mesquite, we were older. We didn't get to meet each other through our kids or anything anymore because we
Right.
had kids. It was all seniors here. My husband had a major heart attack 2 months after we moved here, and I didn't know a soul except I had volunteered down at the chamber right away. And so I knew the two other ladies that volunteered, they didn't work with me. We just changed shifts.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's
So you know their name, basically.
yeah, that was kind of it. And then after he had the heart attack, I had no family here, nothing, and I'm going, oh, we got to fix this because
Yeah.
we need a way to get to know each other. And I came from the club in California, so I went to them and told them that I wanted to start a club, a newcomers club like we had in California. We all went to lunch, and I told them about it, what I'd like to do, and would they be in it? Would they be interested in it? And oh, yes, yes, yes. So the three of us got together. They helped me, and we all got it going. I put an ad in the paper saying that we were getting a women's club together. Come to the Oasis buffet at the date and time and everything, and then went like crossed my fingers to see if anybody showed up.
How many, do you remember how many
17.
were actually there the
7.
first time?
No, 26. 26 ladies showed up, so we were ecstatic, you know.
Oh, yeah. That's a pretty good turnout for,
26 ladies showed up. 17 of them joined immediately.
okay.
Okay, that's how it went. We just grew from there, and I was ecstatic that I said, well, we need to make a board, and I'm going to need a secretary and a vice president and all this stuff. And everybody just volunteered. I thought there'd be a problem with that, but we had a newsletter person, a secretary right away, a treasurer right away, a vice president. So it just went like,
Yeah, I can totally relate to that because myself and my husband, we've lived here, it'll be 18 months at the end of the month. And we had bought tickets for a play at the Mesquite Community Theater, which is how I got on their mailing list. And then after we'd been here probably only about 4 months, they sent this mass email out saying they needed board members if anyone was interested. And I thought, well, that would give me an opportunity to meet people because we do not attend religious
yeah.
and things, and so, and yeah, when you're retired and kids are raised, you just,
Right, it was a way to meet.
you know, other than the people I live next door to, who are awesome. Who else am I going to, you know, meet? What other way am I going to meet people? So it's been really, really fun to get to know how artistic this community is.
Oh,
there,
yeah, we
you
have
know.
a lot of talent here.
Yes, we do. For just a bunch of quote unquote bunch of old folks.
And everyone in the club, everyone that joined, everybody had something that they were interested in, and so they started that interest group. We'd put it in the newsletter and say, Mary Jo starting this hiking club. Who's interested? Then they get with her, they call her up, and they form their own little group, and they meet when they want to meet. But we always kept the monthly luncheons going for everybody.
So, where did you move to Mesquite from?
Southern California. I grew up in Torrance,
Okay.
and I lived most of my married life in Orange County.
Okay.
And then we moved here.
All right. And do you have kids and grandkids? And
I have one child. We have one child. He lives in Oregon.
okay.
Grew up in Southern California and likes Oregon. With no sunshine and rain. That's the way it goes.
Well, my dad always said if my kids left home, that meant I did a good job, and now I have places to visit.
Yeah, well, last time I visited him in Oregon in June, mind you, we went to visit him, and then we drove down to the coast and did some of the beach cities there. We had to drive back to Portland, where he lives, from the beach, from like Cannon Beach, in a whiteout blizzard snowstorm in June. I have not been back there since. I don't don't do snow.
I hear you, because born and raised in Utah, I do not miss the snow whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, and my husband had retired when we moved down, but I had not retired, and I had worked for the state of Utah. We'd all been working from home for 3 years since the pandemic when they'd sent us home to work. And I said, well, am I going to still be able to work from home? And they're like, no, you work for the state of Nevada or Utah. You have to go to Utah. So I had to drive to St. George for 4 months every day to work. and I had one of those. It's like where I was fine until I got to halfway through the gorge, and then I drove the rest of the way in like a whiteout condition in February, and I was just cussing the whole time. And so I'm like, because once you're in the gorge, you're in the gorge. Can't turn around. Can't go home.
Yeah. And way back when I first came here, I mean, they didn't have all these dividers like they have now.
Oh, yeah.
It was, and my first drive that I drove through the gorge was chasing the ambulance to St. George
Oh, no.
at 80 miles an hour.
Yeah. And I'd been here before, but I really got familiar with the area back in 2007. I had a really good friend who lived here then, and I would work for her. She was doing interior decorating on the side, and I'd come down and we would stage new condos as they were being built and stuff. And that's like, I kept telling my husband, I really want to move there. And he was like, I'm going to work. I'm not ready to retire. I'm just going to keep working. And I'm like, and then finally, about 2 years ago, he's like, no, I think I'm ready. And of course, the traffic was getting worse and worse in Salt Lake. And he's like, I got to get out of there. So.
Well, traffic's pretty bad here compared to when I first came here.
Well, that is true. There's a lot more traffic. And it's funny because, it's just like I tell him all the time. I manifested this move to Mesquite because I have wanted to move so bad. And he finally got on board with that. And I remember we were talking about, well, where are you going to shop? You're going to have to go to St. George for big shopping, Or, I says, we could go to Vegas. And he used to live in Vegas in the 90s. And last May, we went to a Savannah Bananas game in Vegas. But it happened to correlate with that same weekend that they have that EDM festival thing at the Speedway. And it took us 40 minutes to get from the 215 to get past the Apex Road. Yeah, right. And so it's like, oh, hell, I ain't going to Vegas to shop. We'll just go to St. George.
Well, when I moved here, even going to St. George wasn't. We used to pack a big cooler in the car and drive to Vegas. We'd spend the night, do all our shopping and everything, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
I have a funny story about the Desert Dames. You might be.
Let's hear it.
When we were first starting out, and we had the ad in the paper where this was after we got going and everything. I don't know how we advertised. I can't even remember that. But I get a phone call, and it was a guy, and he was asking about Desert Dames. In the club that I came from, California, there was a gentleman who always wanted to take his lady to lunch, so he joined because you could only come to 2 events without joining. So he joined, but the only thing he ever did was bring his lady to lunch when we had our luncheons. And he didn't try to, be in the club or anything for anything else. And so this guy, he's asking me, well, what all do you do? And I'm telling him, and I'm going, I'm thinking, we have to let a man in. You couldn't.
Right.
So he's just asking me, what do you do? And I'm telling him, well, our interest groups. And what else do you do? And I'm trying to think of all these things that I figured he wouldn't want to do, we'll do this and we'll do that. And he just kept asking me that. Finally, I'm a little dense, I guess. I said, we don't do that. He was calling, and I think I never found out who it was a call, but it was a younger voice. I think it was a young local guy, and he was just having a good time at my expense because I was so dumb. And they're probably still laughing about it till today.
with along that lines, that's funny. What's the most memorable thing that the club has done?
In the old days, we used to have, because we were smaller before we got to be 600 people and you couldn't do this anymore, we had parties, socials, and our husbands were always included, and came to the socials and that. And so we used to do kind of fun things, like we went out to Hafen Ranch and we had a skit going out, for entertainment. We made our own skits, and we had a 60-year-old lady pregnant and a shotgun wedding skit going on there, stuff like that. One time we were having a social, we were out at Desert Skies, because there wasn't many places that could hold us,
Mm-hmm.
So we were out at Desert Skies in their event room, and for some reason, the guys, we all made them shirts, and they were called the Desert Dudes.
Okay.
But we didn't have the T-shirts and stuff where they got printed like nowadays. So all us gals would get together and have fun making the shirts and putting the letters on ourselves and things like that. The E fell off my husband's shirt, so now he's known as the Desert Dud. So we just called them the Desert Duds after that.
I think I'd just run with that.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
We did, yeah. So anyway, the Desert Duds decided to put on a skit. And they dressed up, I guess we were having, it was like Cinco de Mayo party. And
Okay.
they dressed up like Mexican ladies. And they came out because they have a stage over there. And, they're all ugly as sin. However, they dressed funny and everything. They come out and they start to sing a song that one of the guys, I think he must have been in the Navy, and the song went something like, "My name is Maria and I have the gonorrhea." Whatever that's the only part I remember of it. It was hysterical. And one time they did the same thing, and they came out as hula girls, and but we used to do fun things like that. One time, Phyllis Lippman, mayor's wife, she was in it, and she came and gave all the ladies hula lessons. So then at our event, the ladies as a group got up and did the hula,
Mm-hmm. And Bobbie, if any of our listeners are interested in joining your group, where do they find you? How do they get in touch with you?
Addie here with contact information for Desert Dames. Website is https:// Mesquite NV. Phone 1-702-271-5467. Address P.O. Box 3424, Mesquite, Nevada 89024. Once more. Website is https:// Desert Dames Mesquite NV. Phone 1-702-271-5467. Address P.O. Box 3424, Mesquite, Nevada 89024. Addie over and out. Back to Bobbie and Suzie.
And do you have a Facebook page?
Yeah, the Facebook page. We still have the monthly newsletter, which is called the Desert Dispatch. Just ask all over town. Just ask anybody. Somebody knows.
Okay.
Somebody that's in it. So.
All right. Okay. Well, I have some questions that I ask all my guests. Are you willing to answer those questions so that we can really get to know Bobbie Green? What is the first album that you ever bought? Come on, think back.
Probably Elvis.
Okay.
I guess.
What was your first concert that you attended?
I'm a lot older than you. Don't think I went to concerts.
That's okay. I didn't go to a concert as a young person. I didn't do that because I lived in rural Utah, so it wasn't happening for me. If you were going to hell in a handbasket, what is the one item that you'd have to have with you? For me, I'd have to have a bottle of Stella Rosa wine.
A Bible.
Okay.
I figured they wouldn't let me in.
And if you only had one song you could listen to for the rest of your life, you didn't have to listen to it all the time, but it's the only one you could ever listen to, what song would that be?
I don't know what deemed the song. I know probably anything Elvis sang or anything that Andre Parvetti sang. I don't know a particular song that I would.
Okay. All right. The last question. It's the hardest one. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Well, Bobbie, it's been fun getting to know you, and I appreciate you coming and spending your time with us here at the Art Box.
Thank you for inviting me.
Broadcasting from the Mesquite Works STEAM Center in the scenic Mojave Desert, the Art Box sponsors thank you for listening. You can find us on Spotify, Samsung, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and Amazon Music. Please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. We are on Facebook and Instagram as The Art Box. We welcome all comments. You can email us at artboxvv@gmail.com. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of its hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of our sponsors.